The small, peaceful village of Pinebrook was nestled between rolling hills and lush, dense forests. Life here moved slowly, without the chaos of city living. The villagers knew each other well, and everyone felt safe. Children ran through the streets playing tag, their laughter echoing through the air, while the elders spent their time tending to gardens and knitting on their porches. The town was quiet, almost idyllic, the perfect place to raise a family. But on the evening of a cool autumn day, the tranquility of Pinebrook was shattered. A little girl named Lily, just 8 years old, went missing. Lily had been playing in the yard of her family's farmhouse, as she often did. Her parents, Anna and Thomas, were busy working around the house and didn't think much of it when Lily wandered out to the edge of the nearby forest, a place she'd explored many times before. But as the day wore on, and the sun began to set, Lily never returned. Anna called out for her daughter, but there was no answer. Panic set in quickly. Thomas joined her in the search, and they began calling for Lily through the woods, but there was no sign of her. Hours passed, and the night grew colder, but still, there was no trace of their little girl. By midnight, the entire village was involved in the search. People gathered at the farmhouse, calling out into the darkness, shining flashlights through the trees. The searchlights from the village and the local police car illuminated the night, but there was no sign of Lily anywhere. The local authorities arrived, and a search party was organized. They combed the forest for hours, checking every nook and cranny, but there was no sign of the little girl. It seemed impossible. Where could she have gone? And how could she have vanished so quickly? The village was in a state of shock, and for the first time in years, fear began to settle in. The peaceful village was no longer safe, and everyone feared the worst. At the farmhouse, there was one member of the household who hadn't joined in the frantic search, Daisy, the family cat. Daisy was a scruffy tabby cat who had been with the family for as long as Lily could remember. She had always been a curious cat, but she had an unusual bond with Lily. They were inseparable. Wherever Lily went, Daisy followed. But that night, Daisy behaved strangely. While everyone was busy searching for Lily, Daisy kept pacing back and forth near the front door. She meowed incessantly, her gaze darting from the door to the dark forest beyond. At first, Anna and Thomas thought it was just the cat's usual anxiety, perhaps Daisy was simply unsettled by the strange commotion. But Daisy's behavior grew more frantic. She pawed at the door, clawing and scratching as if trying to get outside. It was as if she had sensed something that no one else could. When Anna tried to calm her, Daisy suddenly bolted toward the forest. Without hesitation, the cat darted into the woods, her lithe body weaving through the trees and underbrush with surprising speed. Anna, bewildered but desperate, called after her, hoping that Daisy might lead her to Lily. But Daisy was too fast, and within moments, she had disappeared into the dark woods. Anna hesitated for a moment, but then something inside her urged her to follow. She had no idea where Daisy was leading her, but the cat had been with Lily since the day she was born. If anyone knew where Lily had gone, it was Daisy. She grabbed a flashlight and dashed after the cat, her heart pounding in her chest. The woods were dense, and the trees loomed tall around her, casting eerie shadows as the wind whispered through the leaves. It was nearly impossible to see in the thick darkness, but Anna's sense of urgency drove her forward. She called out for Daisy, but there was no answer. Minutes stretched into what felt like hours, but Anna continued to follow the sound of the cat's frantic meows. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, she saw a flicker of movement ahead, a flash of the tabby's distinctive fur. "Daisy!" Anna called out, her voice strained with emotion. The cat turned around, as if she had been waiting for Anna to catch up. Then, to Anna's astonishment, Daisy led her deeper into the woods, walking at a steady pace but always checking to make sure Anna was following. The further they went, the more Anna's nerves began to settle. She had a strange, gut feeling that Daisy was leading her to Lily, and despite the darkness and the fear gnawing at her, she couldn't stop following. Soon, they reached a narrow ravine. The ground was slippery from the recent rain, and the air was thick with mist. Daisy stopped at the edge and looked down into the ravine, her eyes wide and focused. Anna stepped closer, shining the flashlight down into the chasm. At first, she couldn't see anything. But as her light moved, her heart stopped. There, clinging to the side of the ravine, was Lily. She was cold, scared, and trembling, but she was alive. She had somehow ended up in the ravine and was unable to climb back up. Her face was dirty, and her clothes were torn, but she was conscious. "Lily!" Anna shouted, her voice cracking with emotion. Lily's face lit up when she heard her mother's voice. She reached out, tears streaming down her face, and Anna could see the exhaustion and fear in her daughter's eyes. "I'm here, sweetheart," Anna said, relief flooding through her. "We're going to get you out." Anna knew she couldn't reach Lily on her own. The ravine was too steep, and she needed help. But there was no one nearby. She quickly glanced back up at Daisy, who was still standing at the edge, watching them intently. For a moment, Anna wasn't sure what to do. But then, in a flash of inspiration, she realized that Daisy was the key. The cat had been the one to lead her here, and it seemed to have an instinct for where Lily was and how to help. Anna called out to Daisy, urging her to stay close. Then, something incredible happened. Daisy, as though understanding what Anna was asking, bounded down the side of the ravine, nimbly hopping from rock to rock. She didn't hesitate for a second. The cat moved with purpose, carefully making her way down the ravine towards Lily. At first, Anna was terrified for the cat. But then she saw what Daisy was doing. She moved close to Lily, nudging her gently with her head, as if telling her to climb onto her back. Lily hesitated for a moment, confused, but the cat persisted, giving her a gentle nudge again. Slowly, with Daisy's assistance, Lily climbed onto the cat's back. To Anna's astonishment, Daisy began to lead Lily up the ravine, her small but strong body moving with surprising agility. The cat used her claws to grip the rocky surface, providing stability for Lily as she clung to her back. Every step was a calculated effort, but Daisy was determined. She navigated the treacherous terrain with an uncanny ability, knowing exactly where to place her paws and how to keep Lily safe. After what seemed like an eternity, Daisy finally made it back to the top of the ravine, carrying Lily safely in her arms. When Anna reached out to pull her daughter into her arms, she couldn't believe her eyes. Daisy had done it. She had saved her daughter. The two women embraced, sobbing with relief. It was a moment of pure joy and gratitude. And just as they stood there, holding each other, the rest of the villagers arrived, having heard the commotion. They looked down at Daisy, who stood tall, her tail flicking back and forth in quiet triumph. From that day on, Daisy was more than just a cat. She became a legend in Pinebrook. The cat who had saved a child from the ravine, the cat whose instincts had led the way in the darkest moment. As the years went on, the villagers never forgot Daisy's bravery. She had been the quiet hero, the one who saw what no one else could. And for Anna, Daisy was more than just a pet. She was family. Daisy had saved Lily's life, and in doing so, she reminded the entire village of the incredible bonds that can exist between humans and animals, bonds built on trust, instinct, and love. Daisy continued to live with Anna and Lily for many years. She was no longer just the family cat, she was the heart of Pinebrook. Her story of heroism was passed down through generations, reminding everyone that sometimes, the most unlikely heroes are the ones who change the world forever.